students, today we are going to deal with the abiotic factors of the ecosystem. First of all, we have to know what the ecosystem is. All the living and non-living things in a given area are included in the ecosystem. An ecosystem can be a pond, a desert, an ocean, a forest, or your neighborhood. In ecosystem, there are two types of the factors, biotic factors and abiotic factors. First of all, we will deal with the abiotic factors. Among the abiotic factors, there is air, which provide the living things with oxygen, atmosphere, and in atmosphere there is 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. Atmosphere protects the individuals from certain harmful rays from the sun. All the life requires water. It is an important abiotic factor. Organisms are made mostly of water. They need water for important life processes, growing and reproducing. Light is the source of all the energy on the earth. It provides warmth and light. Plants use sunlight to make food. Soil provides water and nutrients for the plants, and it is the home for many organisms. Soil is made up of bits of rocks, water, air, minerals, and the remains of one's living things. Temperature influences the organism's life. Temperature on the earth greatly varies. Climate, it influences the organisms very much. It describes the average weather conditions in an area over time. A climate's weather conditions include temperature, moisture, and wind. Now we will deal with the light in detail in today's lecture. Light is electromagnetic radiation within a certain portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. The radiant energy from the sun is the basic requirement for the existence of life on the earth. This source of energy is of fundamental importance to the photosynthesis, production of food by the plants, and the heat budget of the world is dependent on the solar radiation. Although we generally think only in terms of the visible light, and the word usually refers to visible light which is visible to the human eye and responsible for the sense of sight. The main source of light on earth is the sun. Light is part of the electromagnetic spectrum which ranges from radio waves to gamma rays. Electromagnetic radiation can also be described in terms of a stream of photons, which are massless particles, each traveling with wave-like properties at the speed of the light. There is variation of light in different ecosystems. Light energy varies with different media. The transparency of air and water is important in regulating the amount and quantity of light and may be available in particular habitats. The intensity of light reaching the Earth's surface varies with angle of incidence, degree of latitude and altitude, season, time of day, amount absorbed and dispersed by atmosphere, a number of climatic and topographic factors such as fog, clouds, suspended water drops, dust particles, etc. When the angle of incidence is smaller, it results into relative reduction in intensity. Likewise, sun's altitude changes due to difference in latitude, changes in the season and in the time of day. The intensity of daylight is greatly diminished by moisture, clouds and dust in the atmosphere and also by forest vegetation. The direction and slope of the mountain also affect light intensity. There will be no light on the one side of the slope. Then how the light affects the plants? Without light, many of the plants would not be able to produce the energy needs to grow. Sunlight provides the energy that green plants use to create sugars which release energy into the living things. Plants get energy from light through a process called photosynthesis. This process provides virtually all the energy used by living things. Light affects the plants by two ways, directly and indirectly. Many plants are affected directly by light with intensity, quality, duration, chlorophyll production, stomatal movement, heating action, distribution of plants, and overall vegetative development of the plants. We will deal all with these factors one by one. First of all, the light effects on plants based on its intensity, quality, and duration, which are also known as limiting factors for the plant growth. Now the intensity, light intensity increases, the rate of photosynthesis will increase as long as other factors are in adequate supply. As the rate increases, eventually another factors will come into short supply. The graph in the picture shows the effect of the low carbon dioxide concentration. Light affects directly following aspects of plant life. It is an essential factor in the formation of chlorophyll pigment in the chlorophyllous plants. It has a very strong influence on the number and position of chloroplast. The upper part of the leaf, which receives full sunshine, has larger number of chloroplasts which are arranged in line with the direction of the light. In leaves of plants which grow under shade, chloroplasts are very few in number and are arranged at right angle to the light rays, thus increasing the surface of light absorption. Light has its most significant role in photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, the green plants, which are primary producers of an ecosystem, synthesize their carbohydrate food from water and carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight. Thus, during photosynthesis, the solar radiant energy is transformed into the chemical or molecular energy, which remains stored in the chemical bonds of carbohydrates, and its chemical energy is utilized by other chlorophyllous and non-chlorophyllous parts of the plants. All animals, bacteria, and viruses in their different life activities. The rate of photosynthesis is greater intermittent light than in the continuous light. At high intensity of light, a photooxidation of chlorophylls and other enzymes takes place, which consequently reduces the rate of synthesis of carbohydrates and proteins. Light inhibits the production of auxins or growth hormones, as a result of which it influences the shape and size of plants. Plants grown in sufficient light or in the total darkness produce maximum amount of growth hormones, as a result of which they are elongated with weak pale yellow stems and with very few branches. Light also influences certain chemical compounds of plants which affect the differentiation of specialized tissues and organs. Leaf structure too is influenced by the intensity of light. The thickness of leaf increases with the increasing light intensity. The development of flowers fruits and seeds, it's greatly affected by light intensity. Diffused light or reduced light promotes the development of vegetative structure and causes delicacy. For example, vegetative crops like turnips, carrots, and for intense light favors the development of flowers, fruits and seeds, and duration of light is also very important. Actual duration of light, length of the day, that is photoperiod, is a significant factor in the growth and flowering of a wide variety of plants. The controlling effect of photoperiod is called photoperiodicity. According to the response to the length of the photoperiod, the plants have been classified into long day plants, short day plants, and daylight plants. There are also indirect effects of light on the plants. Light affects opening and closing of stomata, influences the permeability of plasma membrane and has heating effect on the plants. All these in turn affect the transpiration, which in turn affects the absorption of water. Light affects the respiration of plants indirectly, as in the presence of light, the respiratory substrate are synthesized. In many plants, the respiratory rate increases with the increase in the light intensity. However, in certain plants, respiration rates decrease slightly in the intense light. There are many effects of light on the animals. Light affects divergent aspect of animals' life. It influences cellular metabolism, growth, pigmentation, locomotion, reproduction, ontogenic development, and also controls the periodicity and biological clock of the animals. Some of its significant effects we can discuss here. Many animals are affected by light with migration, hibernation, animal eyes, camouflage, bioluminescence, protoplasm, metabolism, and photoperiodism and biological clock. First of all, we will discuss the migration. Many animals are also affected by the change of the season. The length of the daylight affects animals when to start migrating. Many birds migrate to countries thousands of kilometers away. They will use the sun to help them find their way, that is to navigate. Bees also use the position of the sun to navigate. Some animals in the colder countries, the shorter day triggers the hibernation in some animals like the bear. These animals eat a lot in the warmer months to build up fat before sleeping in a burrow, cave or hole during the cold winter. Eyes of animals are also affected by the light. Insects such as flies have compound eyes which is directly affected by the light. Unlike humans, some animals can see infrared and ultraviolet light. Bees can see ultraviolet light which helps them see flowers that reflect ultraviolet light from their petals. Other animals such as piranha can see the infrared light. Seeing infrared light helps animals to catch their prey. Now, the phenomenon of camouflage and pigmentation. Many animals have different colors and patterns on their fur or skin that make them difficult to see. This is called the camouflage. Other animals use colors to scare predators. Chameleon can change color to fit in with the environment around them. Animals can do this by changing the size of the pigment cells in the skin. When these pigment cells change size, they make different colors and patterns on the skin. Then the other factor is the bioluminescence. Many animals give out light when When animals make this light, it is called bioluminescence. Some animals use chemicals or bacteria inside the cells of their body to create light. The male Malaysian firefly is one insect that produces a particularly spectacular show. Many fireflies sit on the same bush and all flash their lights at the same time. There is effect of light on the protoplasm. Some animals remain protected by some sort of body covering which is helping to protect them from solar radiation. Ultraviolet rays are known to cause mutational changes in the DNA of various organisms. Light also affects the metabolism of the organism. By increasing in the light intensity, there is an increase in the enzymatic activity. Solubility of gases decreases with higher light intensity. Photoperiodism and biological clock, these are the two processes which create the effect of light on the animals. First of all, the circadian rhythms. It is mainly working with the earth's rotation by working with day night with the activity of sleep and wake up. Circatidal rhythms. In this rhythm, tidal activities are affecting the working of animal. By change in high and low tide, the animals which are living in intertidal zone alternately submerged in water and exposed to air. And if it is synchronized with the phases of moon, that is called circannual rhythm. With the changes in phases, animals change their color, size, and which is also known in the case of heteroneries. Semilunar rhythms. Semilunar rhythms deal with the spring tide and neap tide, which is related to the second and fourth quarter of moon. Circannual rhythms. These are the activities of animals are also affected by seasonal changes during the year. Metabolic activities of the animals are changed with the seasonal changes, and these are some of the factors which affect the life of the animals and plants by the change in the light. Further, occasionally the output of sunlight is increased by the development of sunspots. As a result of this, excess energy is radiated to space, and this naturally increases the output of solar energy. In this way, these are the number of factors which we have discussed one by one regarding the abiotic factor. In the next class, we will deal with the temperature as an abiotic factor. Thank you.